Okay, we should hopefully be live. And everything should hopefully be working all right. Well, welcome back if you are joining us again from a previous Making Music Monday, and welcome if this is your first Making Music Monday. Today we're going to be doing some more work on a track that I've been working on the previous 2 weeks. So we are using a device that I have created called Cello, which looks like this. It's based off of Conway's Game of Life. It allows you to update it, and it plays notes automatically, which is a really useful thing. And we're trying to create a song at the moment that we can play live, where we can, have intricacies because of it being live, and hopefully getting the most out of it that way. So we got some stuff going on. What we already have and what you heard in the intro is already that device, which is doing a great job. And we're going to hopefully try and flush out the final little bits. We were working on some extra little tweaks here and there, and hopefully we're going to work on getting a finalized song. And hopefully the vocals work correctly this time, because last week we were having some problems with the audio buffer, and the in-out stream was causing some glitching, some pops. Hopefully we can fix that, or it is fixed, and that will work well for us. If you want any more information on Cello, feel free to check the description, where there is a link to the website where it has how it was built, some more information about it. And without further ado, let's get into it. So I think first thing, we're going to do a quick recap just to see and get people reminded of where we are in the song. Also, just to note, I have transitioned from Ableton 12 to Ableton 12 Beta, just because I think the problem with the audio was that I was using Ableton 12 standard release. And it does say that typically there are some conflicting problems that happens when you have both installed. So hopefully it works better. I did a bit of test audio just before we started stream, which is why I was a little late. It was nice and clean. I didn't hear any pops, even listening back to it. Didn't hear any pops. So let's hope that's the case again for now. Otherwise, it could be something to do with the Max Patch and Cello integrating into it, or it could just be limitations with streaming and doing stuff as well. But when I was testing out, trying to get some of the audio from last week in here this week, again, it was messing up. Well, let's start. So we're doing this in session view, just so that it's a little bit more live intuitiveness. I'm going to pop that onto there as well, because we've got our effects. So we'll start off with Cello. So Cello can be triggered remotely through an external MIDI input. Well, let's stop all of them. So get these back now. So we're going to start on our first chord. So this is the first chord from Cello. And then we go into that chord. I need to refresh those notes. There we go. The more chords are coming in. And we can mute this by, there's a light sensor which we can mute when I put my hand over it. Kind of hard to demonstrate this. It's this sensor right here. So if I put my finger over it, we mute the sound. Acts as a high cut. And then our final chord that we've kind of been using is this one. And then we come back and add in the drums, which I think are now out of sync. They're like half a beat out of sync. Hopefully that's more in sync now. Yeah, that's now back in sync. So this is kind of like introduction, getting the feels of the song going, and also helps me get into a good kind of starting situation. And then we're gonna go into this. I did it too late or too early. And then it uses the same chords. There you go, it's kind of creating that movement in it as well. So again, this is just building up this is more like the verse, which it's doing its own thing. I'm just gonna go on to Seller, sustain, a bit more of an attack. Okay, and then got to transition into our second part. There we go. Turn down this sustain. And then we have some filter effects that we can use. So we have a high cut and a low cut. And then we also have the high cut. And then we have a delay and reverb as well. And then we have two vocal chops which are gonna be a bit distorted, so maybe we'll re-record them today as well. And then we have a final one, which is another, again, kind of like mid-transition type thing, which goes like this. So that's where we are with the song. Okay, let's try and get some audio. So again, like I said previously, we were having some problems getting audio in. We were just having some glitchiness with it. Fix all of this. Yep. We have some glitchiness. I think it may be the actual session, because I think I heard some as well just before we were doing this. And another part. Let's give it a go. So what we want to do is we want to re-record these two. Forgotten lands in my hand. You can hear those clicks in the audio. So we're gonna try and record that and fix that. So we've got two. We've got I've forgotten it now. Forgotten lands. And in my hands. Forgotten lands. So let's try and get that thing to record. Forgotten lands. Now, first things first, we want to check it is still doing it. So we're definitely using OBS, probably using Cellar as well, is causing forgotten lands. Some form of artifacting. It's less clicky than last time. This seems smoother. But it is definitely still got some artifacting in it. Oh, I didn't realize they've added this at the bottom, which shows you just how zoomed in you are. Each of these is 1/28. So if we're taking that that's 1/28, I'll look at the 120 no, so that's 225, 220, 226, 256, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we have 9 of them. So we have 2,304 samples at a sample rate of 48,000 divided by 2304. We're losing 20 milliseconds of audio in just random chunks, because I think that's also forgotten land. Yeah, like it's every like 20 milliseconds of audio is being incorrectly sampled. Let me put this back to 96, see if that changes anything. My guess is that it probably won't, but I'd rather make sure that nothing's a problem. And you can also tell me if it's glitchy and struggling over OBS as well. That also was happening last week as well, which wasn't the nicest. And I apologize. I'm still trying to figure it out. If you have any ideas as to what may be causing any of the glitchiness or the desyncing between input-output buffers, please let me know. Always love to hear. So yeah, let's try this again. Forgotten lands. Forgotten lands. That survived, but I sang it badly. Forgotten lands. That seems good. Forgotten lands. So we just needed a bigger output buffer, but it was annoying because that was what we used previously. Let me take a drink. Okay, but that's definitely cleaner. So let's chop this up. And then what we can do is we can go into our sampler. And what we can do is we can drag that in. And then let's go back to this. So both of these. So now, forgotten lands. Did not mean to do that. Forgotten lands. Forgotten lands. We could probably boost that a bit. Forgotten lands. Forgotten lands. Forgot. Nice. And then in my hands. One. This one. Forgotten lands. In my hand. In my hand. Perfect. I missed it the first one, I'm not gonna lie. But hey ho, that's about making music live. That's the D, that's the tail of the D. We'll put that there. pop it in as our second one. Let's give it a sound. You know what? Let's Control J that, and then pop it in here. There we go. In my hand. You know what? I probably should have done that with this one as well. Let's do that again then. I know, back and forth. I promise it'll be worth it. Forgotten Land. Forgotten Land. Control J. I mean, you saw how much bigger and nicer that audio is. Back to this. Forgotten Land. Forgotten Land. I can now decrease that back to the 12. Forgotten Land. Forgotten Land. In my hand. In my hand. Beautiful. Both of them are sounding great. The other thing that I wanted to try is an ambient layer. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use another MIDI track and we're going to use randomizers to help with it. I'm actually going to turn off loop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record basically a bunch of strange vocal parts, and then using the randomness will trigger them using the transients in it. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to just record a bunch of random, like ooh, maybe not as medieval sounding. Let's say, you know what, let's get all the music playing. Boop. What I'll do, put the record on here. Mani no mayo ayo. Okay, just random noises at this point, and we can always go in and change it later. So what we'll then do, I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to put these as Vox stabs, and then I'm going to put this as Vox amp, ambient. And what we'll do, again, we'll Control J that, consolidating it. Going to go back up to here. Let's change the color. Get rid of this one. Let's drag this on here. So what we want to do is we want to slice this, and as you can see, it's doing it based off of transient. Which means when we come in and add in a MIDI clip, what we can do is we should just be able to drag that along. It needs to be down this way. Trigger, sensitivity playback, poly. Okay, how do I do this again? I want it to be... you know what? Delete this. We just want a... What's this one? This is the effect rack. We just want to get us... I'll do it simpler. Pop that there. Then we can drag this in here. Then we can turn on slice. Then we have transient. Then we can have poly. Now, And then we can change the sensitivity so there's more or less of them. But we can also go in and make it crazy. Okay. Let's zoom in here. So the lowest note, I think is this one. C minor, C1. So what we can then do, pop it all on C1. We can choose what our re-trigger rate is. So currently I'd say that the pattern that we've been doing on like the rhythms has been something similar to this. We'll do this. Then what we do is we can do a randomization MIDI effect. If I can remember where it is. Envelopes. Delay, EQA. No, it's not going to be those. Control. Pitch bend. You know what I think it is? I think it's the pitch MIDI effect, isn't it? So MIDI effects, and then we want the basically like the 12, the plus 12. Yeah, there we go. Well, then what we want to do is, how do we do the randomizer? I've forgotten how to do it. Random, is it this one? There we go. That's what I wanted. So we can set the chance to be quite high. The choices will make 24. And then intervals, yeah, that should be fine. Now, if we go back to this, I'm just gonna play it on its own. Right, okay. So we've got those sounds. We can obviously go in, change what the audio is, play around with it. What we're now going to do is we're going to do a chain thing. It's been a while since I've done the chain, so I may be a bit rusty on it. But what you basically do is you're like, okay, you're going to create one chain, and then it's going to have an audio effect. You're going to have a second chain. You're going to have a slightly different amount of spacing, whatever it may be, and then you have a third. Or you can have as many as you want. I'm trying to remember how we choose this as the chain selector. Micro variations, that's what I need. Okay, so I'll make this the delay. We'll make this a reverb. So then we go on to, so this is going to be different chains. So I'm going to delete that. Get a reverb. Put that in there. need to get a chain selector. Oh, I've forgotten how to do it. Right, we need to map this to something. Map it to macro 1. Basically, we can then go through this and select it. And then, you know what, let's do velocity. Should be a MIDI velocity effect where we can lowest output, we can set that. And then we want to map this. How do I get the output? Oh, I have forgotten. Forgotten what this does. Where's the help keys? 11. Get the forgotten how to get this on. Navigate, view, clip view, hide device view. Need like zoom full screen. Maybe it's learn view. Nope. Learn view is not the view I wanted. Overview? No. Okay, that's interesting. We're learning some stuff. Hide device view. No, that's not what I want. Clip view, undo. Info. That's it. Okay. How's this one doing again? As the signal interacts, they are filtered by each change zones, which auto-select enables all chains which are processing, which will come in the chain list for fish. Okay, so we want that. I forget how to select that. Okay. I will come back to this, but we at least have the reverb that we wanted to do. And then I want to change this to like Thank you. The reverb is a nice bass stock Ableton reverb. Maybe a little altar boy thing. I need a... Oh, okay, I think it's coming back to me. What we now need is a MIDI envelope, I think. And envelope MIDI. Let me quickly search this up. I guess I can show you this, where I'm getting this. Let me pop it up. So if you have never come across this person, we are looking at Virtual Riot, who is like very classic, old school. Well, he's good. He's a good electronic EDM producer, and he had a video where he went over this, and it was sweet. I just got to remember where it was. You remember, I heard you like polyrhythms, Death by Amen. Okay, so it was after this time. Let your sounds. I bet it's this one. There's got to be Chaos EQ. How to build a chaos effect. Control EQ with more control. Real life application for Chaos Reaper. Chaos delay on drums and chords. It is not this one. We will keep looking. Let your patterns write themselves. It's probably this one. Maybe. Intro, hyperchorus, concepts, the concept, that maybe.
And it slices it at the transients, maybe set the sensitivity a little bit lower so that it spreads out over the whole thing. Now, if I press a C1, then it should play the first slice. Yep, it do. A little bit of silence at the beginning, so I'm gonna move the start point over here. But now, I'm gonna do two little changes. First of all, I'm gonna change it from trigger to gate mode, so now it's only playing the slice for as long as the note is actually held. And if I go up a semitone to like C sharp, that's slice number 2, D is slice number 3, and so on and so forth. Everyone who's like put an aim and break into this kind of knows how this works, but you can kind of like have Ableton create patterns for you. So you can put an arpeggiator before this. And now if I just hold C1 down, it plays C1 and then it plays one additional step, that's an octave up. I can say, hey, maybe just don't go up an octave with each step, just go up one semitone, but do that 7 additional times to the one note that I'm playing. So now we should get slice 1 to 8, and each of those should be a 16th note long. Hell yeah. And you can move around the starting position here, and then if you hold a C1, it'll play different slices.
This is similar concept, not the right video. This is it. Chains. I completely missed it. It's fine. If you want to, this is the place. This is the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then let's just load up an audio effect rack, and then I'm gonna create it.
All right.
Useful for color base and for melodies and arps, and also for crazy glitchy stuff. So first I'm going to show you the general technique, and then at the end I'm going to show you the color-based version. Alright, so here I just have a simple saw, and then let's just load up an audio effect rack, and then I'm going to create a chain here. This is dry, nothing's on there, and this button up here, the chain, shows you the chain selector, and if you want to work in this you can right click and then change the size of this if you need to do like mini adjustments. And what happens here, so there's this teal blue little marker up here that you can move around, and you see this little blue bit here. So if I can drag this out and take it all across this whole range, or maybe just to the middle, and then if this is sitting here within the range of this blue bar, then sound goes through. If I move it over here, no more sound goes through. And yes, you can automate this or link it to macros or even LFOs if you want to have fun. So I was wondering if there's like a really cool, intuitive, creative way of using this. And you can make multiple chains here and then give each of those their separate range. They can also overlap. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had one effects chain that just had the dry signal going through at any time, and then maybe two more chains that are like send effects almost, where you have an effect on them, but it's on 100% wet. So this is going to be the delay, and then maybe a reverb as well. Also got to set it to 100% wet. And now I can say, okay, delay maybe down here, and reverb range goes up here. So now if this is in the middle, no effect. If this is down here, delay. And if this is up here, reverb. I make it a little longer so it's easier to hear. And the cool thing is, if this little marker moves out of the range of the reverb, for example, it still decays, like it's not just cutting it off. If you do want that though, you can. I'm just gonna zoom in here, large, and then there's this tiny little line above the blue bar, and if you position your mouse just right, like here, you get this bracket, you can do like a fade, and I think that way, yeah, that just like turns the reverb off, or whatever effects chain is on that channel. But for now, I don't want that, so I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna link this chain selector, so you can right click and then map to macro 1. Now, you could automate this with an automation lane, but I'm lazy, so I want this to happen in a more convenient way. So under MIDI effects, you can go to your expression control here, put that in front of whatever synth you're using, and this gives you multiple parameters, like the velocity of the
expression control. This is what I knew what I needed to do. I'd forgotten the device.
MIDI notes coming in, pitch bend, aftertouch, and random. And we're gonna look at random later, I promise. But for now, let's put velocity on macro number 1. And now.
Okay. Let's go back and get rid of that. Yeah, I think I want velocity on that. What was it? MIDI expression control goes there. Oh, they've updated it. So velocity map to macro 1, and we want to map this to macro 1. So now the chain selector should be mapped to the velocity. Hopefully. Yes. Just a little bit out of range. First we're randomizing that. We're going into there. Okay. You know what? Take all notes, pop them all up to 100. Okay, so now we've got the ambient pad kind of doing some extra stuff in the background, like we actually want. Okay, thank you Virtual Riot for having that amazing video. I'm gonna steal that technique and pop it back in here. So now we can go from this. All right. I'm enjoying this. That is sounding more along the lines of what we wanted. Forgotten Land. Specifically with the ambient box. This one. That whole. Now, let's actually go into this MIDI, because this MIDI will have its own rhythm. I mean, you can already hear the randomness that it's already applying. So I'm going to take this and duplicate that. Take all of the velocities up, deviation down all the way. So, randomizer into a velocity like ramper. Put that there. Then the expression control sees what that is, and then we're mapping that to our selection here. Now we've got maximum velocity, so it's getting loads of different bits in here. I'm going to increase this randomness. And then the chain selectors come afterwards, which allow us to have our different effects because of where the chain selector ends up. Why does that feel like it's... Okay. Map. Hey, X-Bro. Yeah, no worries. See. I should hopefully... Ooh. I'll probably be just wrapping up by then. You can hear what I'm saying in the car. Sweet, yeah, so we've just been working on creating like more of an ambient track with the chain effect at the moment. Ah, can't. All good. But yeah, we'll probably be wrapped up in an hour, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, we're just creating some more ambient tracks at the moment when you do watch this. I know I've not really been talking, I've just been focusing on the sound. So let's actually go back and see what this is like back in the track. So let's bring everything back in. I'm on the vocal stabs. Okay. And what we could also do, no, we wouldn't be able to have different ones. We could just have this as like on lots of different ones in here. So if I go back to these chords, what we can do is we could probably take the bass and use these notes as the triggers, right? So we can see when they're triggering. We put them on C1, put all of their velocities back up, put the deviation to max. That will mean that the things happen now in sequence with the bass, and we could do the same thing for this section as well. Which I think is just the same as this, just it plays more rhythm. Now I think for this part it's probably better to actually use something like the actual melody that the vocals are using. Put this to C1, velocity up, deviation. So yeah, that's I'm liking those ambient tracks. Again, we can go in, change what that ambient sequence is, because it has a lot of which maybe doesn't work as well. Maybe I'll do some more sustained notes. But it could also be something that we want to play around with. We could potentially have something where we can toggle something and changes what pitch it's at. Maybe we turn on, because what we could do, we could always combine a second randomizer, have some more notes, and then that, or even just having a different start note, because obviously we can take this, we can then take all of this and then shift it up like an octave, 2 octaves, and get even more from it as well. I'm gonna try and work on some vocals. I think I want to try and maybe have some vocals in the track. I think that would be cool and nice, something that I can sing and perform on top of it. Okay, Minecraft. That's the vibe. Thank you. We are, in a strange way, we are going for a Minecraft vibe, and I know it's slightly different to have vocals on a Minecraft vibe Like it's giving more like the pig step type, I'd say, ambience. But I'd like to get some vocals on it just to experiment with that and see what it's like. So we know that the song's is called Cube. If you haven't been here, it's called Cubed. That's the title of the song. So let's try and come up with some lyrics to go with that. You know what? Hear me out. We have been saying that it has the vibes of Minecraft, which I agree, and that's what we're going for, and it's called Cubed. What if we actually write the song to be the lyric? Well, what if we write the lyrics to be... Huh. 1 second. I realized that something... Current bit rate is... I mean, you can hear me. Dropped any frames? That's up. I'll have to come back and double check on that as well. Yeah, let's write some Minecraft lyrics. I think that's what I want to do. And we've got Forgotten Land, in my hand, in my hand. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be spewing nonsense for probably the next 30 minutes, but we're gonna get some lyrics. Got these chunks down below. Yep, when I load chunks down below, look around, we got buckets of powdered snow. Badlands, no man, villages, not a fan. 2 blocks underground to keep me safe and sound. Again, we're just coming up with ideas, and then we'll use those ideas to flush out a more proper story-esque thing that we want to do. Yeah, when I load, look down, chunks below. Yep, when I load, don't. Yep, when I look down, chunks below, viewed in 3 dimensions. And then I want to do like how can we be more subtle about it? When I look down, chunks below. So what I'm trying to think is good lyrics that don't give away that it's Minecraft right off the bat. So, yep, when I load, look down, chunks below. Trying to think of like the classic Minecraft start. So I've got something like 2 blocks underground to keep me safe and sound. Yep, when I load, look down, chunks below. The dirt is about to blow. Yeah. No, slow, though. No. Get to work. Get to work, get to move. But get a new grass. I'm very slow at coming up with lyrics. So it's a bit of a slug. So, things are nice, but part of me as it's lyrics is a funny one. Yes, I want it to be live. I feel like lyrics would actually probably make it harder to do live. So, not entirely sure I think it'd be nice to come up with some lyrics, but then always have the ability to be like, do I want to sing the lyrics? I think that's where I'm at. Just because it is quite ambient. But maybe we lean into the ambience. Maybe we don't need the lyrics because we just focus on creating those textures with the ambience. Maybe some more ear candies, maybe some more random elements, maybe some more just parts to the song. Okay, I got some lyrics. We can always come back to them if we want. Let's see how long the song is. You know, let's actually test how long it is, and see whether or not we actually need the lyrics, because the lyrics will just make it longer inherently. So, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of these. I actually don't need them. Delete, 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 delete. Okay. Let's reset the solo. Step it in. Let's dump all of these. Okay. Get the solo performance up here. Okay. Now add the sustain. Alright. I'm going to click record because I want to see how long it is, and we can then test out how long it is on this view. Okay. Forgotten land, forgotten. Forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand, 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 forgotten land, forgotten. Okay, I think that worked, didn't it? Maybe? We... Interesting, it doesn't play back that. Oh, that's why. Pop it in. It doesn't keep the Cellar stuff. So when if I listen back to it, I can't actually listen back to what Cellar played. So I'd have to record audio into that. Which is fine. I could do that. But this would also be random. Okay, we got one nod of approval that it sounds nice. How long was that? That was a 6-minute long performance. So... yeah, that's pretty much what we need. I'll ask the chat. So, we've got this. What more do you think we could add? What more needs to be added? Do we need to change things around? Do we need to do something else? Okay. Vocals good. Love that. Nice and textured. Also agree. I feel like when Cellar's not there, it's a bit dead though, right? So, like, there's the bits here where, like, I inherently bring Cellar out to be able to transition into the more complex Cellar part, like here. Though we still have the vocal stabs happening, what could we add, or do we even need to add anything there to be able to make the Cellar sound more beneficial, more interesting? Is that something we even need to consider? Because I'd agree, the mix is nice. I just feel like when we remove Cellar here, we lose something to the mix. And I know the Cellar track doesn't like save the audio from the live played Cellar because it's not, because it's just how it works. And like we have this bit where we can hear it. Maybe the sound or rises and falls to show a story progressing in the music. I mean, I have the filter sweeps, but Maybe moments of silence raises falling. Yeah, I don't know how easy it would be. I'd have to build out just more complicated scenes, is what I would guess. That I can play more, like take things away easier, do more complicated things. Okay. Just trying something. The audio track. And then this is going to be resample. That's just going to listen. Okay. Sounds good as is. Okay. I think I'm gonna do one more performance just to see what I think of the performance wise, and then see how it's doing. Yeah. Okay. Also, is that if there is clicks and pops, for some reason, YouTube thinks that my stream's bitrate is 0, which it's not, because it is set to. Like, I'm currently getting like a better bitrate than that. Anyway. So we'll let's do one more run through of the whole track, see what it sounds like, and get a feeling for what we think. Intentions. I gotta be intentional with the filters and sweep. You know what? I'm gonna move. My desk's a bit close because I have the MPD as well. Let me move my mouse away. I'm going to put Cellar over here. That's usually where I'm used to Cellar being. And I'm going to put my MPD here so that I can modulate that better. Forgotten Land. Okay, and then I've got an interesting. So what I'm doing is I've got a group here, and then I've got an audio one here, and that audio one is in resampling mode. So I'll hopefully capture everything as one audio take there. What is this? Definitely the right pace. The right color. That is not the right color. Sign track colors. Beautiful. I'm gonna put the vocal things there, the stabs there. I need to be on that one. I can delete that one. Reset everything. Okay. Forgotten land, forgotten land. In my hand, forgotten land, forgotten. Forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand. Forgotten land, forgotten land. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land, forgotten. Forgotten land, forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten land, forgotten. In my hand, in my hand. Forgotten, forgotten, forgotten. In my hand, in my forgotten land, forgotten land, forgotten land. In my hand, in my hand. Okay, gotta get better at ending. But that was the full, like a full run through, and that was again about a 6 minute long track. and it felt good. Like the ambience felt fine. It felt like it was like a proper track type thing. Yeah. Okay. I think I am happy with this with a live performance rig. So you never know. There may be a song coming out very soon about this when we go in and record it properly. Set that back over this side. Forgotten Land. Forgotten Land. Actually, a button. But anyway, I think we will end it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Making Music Monday. Hopefully you feel inspired. This is the main reason. I always need inspiration to make music. This is my inspiration to other people to start making music as well. Mondays are always a terrible day. Everyone always hates Mondays, but I look forward to them because I get to make music. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being part of this journey, providing your feedback, and I will just quickly save so I don't lose anything. We'll jump on to something new next week. I have some vocal stems which I want to try and create into a proper song. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, thank you for joining. There'll be another Making Music Monday next week. And I look forward to seeing you there. Otherwise, have a great time, have a great day, have a great week, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. You know what? I'm gonna switch to full face mode, just quickly. Full face. I'll say it once more. Thank you so much for joining. As always, have a great week, and I will see you later. Okay. Now I can do the fade into